Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our virtual college visit series. My name is Mrs. Edwards, and I'm the career counselor for both Atlee and Patrick Henry High Schools. And we also have Mr. Collier on here as well today, the career counselor with both Hanover and Mechanicsville High Schools. So we are really fortunate to have Miss Erica Shipley with us here today from the University of Kentucky. And we had met earlier in the year, and we're just glad to have her back to share some more information with us about University of Kentucky and any updates, of course. And then, of course, students, if you have any questions throughout the presentation today, please feel free to put them in the chat, or you can also ask them at the end of the presentation today. So with that, Ms. Shipley, I'll go ahead and hand it over to you to get us started.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you guys for having me. I'm super excited. Like I said, or like Ms. Edwards said, my name is Erica. I work with the University of Kentucky. Excited to be chatting with you all. Basically, kind of what we're going to go over today. I try to keep my presentation really fun and exciting because I know that you guys are sitting in on these very frequently. So I definitely want you guys to feel, comfortable asking questions. And if there's anything I'm talking about that sounds a little confusing, just put it in the chat or unmute yourself. I'm happy to elaborate a little bit more. So basically what we'll go over today, I'm just going to talk to you guys a little bit about what my role is specifically, especially if there are any sophomores or juniors watching this. You're definitely in the thick of that college planning search process season of your life. So I want to make sure you guys know who I am. And if I ever reach out to you, you're not like, who's this stranger from UK? I'm a real person. And then we'll talk a little bit about UK in general. So some of the things that I love about UK and what I loved about my experience going to UK. And then we'll talk about the application process. And then of course, leave some time for questions at the end. A little bit about myself. So I actually grew up in Northern Virginia, so in Fairfax County, so probably about maybe 1 or 2 hours from you all, depending on where you are specifically. Like I mentioned, I graduated from UK in 2016, so I'm a very, very proud UK grad, although I like to wear my UK sweatshirt, but I also have my Washington Nationals t-shirt on. So, I like to rep all sides of my sports teams that I cheer for. I work with all of our students from DC, Maryland, and Virginia, and I've worked in our admissions office for 4 years now. So my role is a little bit unique, and you guys will probably meet other people from other schools that are in this position, but I'm actually what's called a regional admissions counselor. So I work for UK full-time, but I actually live in the DC area. So it makes it really, really easy for me to be as accessible as possible to students. Obviously, during the pandemic, it's a little bit more challenging, but usually when we're not in COVID times, I usually drive down to Richmond and Charlottesville and Roanoke and all these places all over Virginia and meet with students one-on-one in person, meet your families, and just kind of walk you through the process. So that kind of leads me into my next slide, which that is really my role. So I'm like I said, what's called a regional admissions counselor. So I'm really just kind of here to walk you through the process of applying to UK. So if you and your family have any questions about your next steps with Kentucky, or when you're filling out the application, you're feeling a little confused about a certain part, you don't even really know if UK is the right fit for you. I mean, any of these questions, that is really what my job is to address those and sort of assist you guys through that process. So I have my contact information up here, and I'll also have it up at the end. So feel free to screenshot it so that you guys can always ask some questions. I'm always happy to help with any of that. So jumping right in, let's talk a little bit about the University of Kentucky. So we are located in Lexington, Kentucky. Specific to you guys, that's probably somewhere between a 7 to 8 hour drive. So not so bad, especially if you're looking for an out-of-state experience. We have a little over 30,000 students on campus, so we're definitely a larger institution. Specific to the freshman class, we usually have somewhere between 5,000 to 5,500 student incoming freshmen on campus every year, which is so great. And we have over 200 majors and minors on our campus that we comprise into one of our 17 academic colleges. So those colleges can range from the College of Engineering, the College of Arts and Sciences, the College of Communication, which is where I graduated from. So we really do have a academic program for any student. And that's definitely one of my favorite parts about Kentucky. If you are sitting here and you're kind of like, I'm not really sure what major I even want, I'm not really sure what I even want to do, I can promise you, you are not alone. And I was actually in that boat as well. I was probably calling my mom every other day telling her, I want to do this major. Oh, now I want to be a teacher. Oh, now I want to work in an ad agency. And she was like, all right. And what was really great was that Kentucky really allows you to explore and sort of figure out exactly what you want. So you guys can see some resources up here. Obviously, at the end of the day, we want you guys to be really successful academically. And that means providing you with resources to be successful. So we have over 20 learning and tutoring centers on campus. So that can range from the study, which is where you'll kind of get some tutoring for general courses, some of those classes you take as a freshman, like college algebra, some of those intro English classes. That's a great place to get some help for that. And then we also have, tutoring opportunities all the way up until your senior year of college. So you'll always have opportunities to be successful. Another thing we love to talk about is study abroad. I studied abroad through my academic college, which was the College of Communication, and I loved it so much. So again, we're always also trying to give you sort of those out of the classroom experiences to learn and grow as well. And another really good way to sort of get some of those out of the classroom opportunities, learn a little bit more about yourself, meet some people, find a really good community is to get involved. You will probably hear some sort of iteration of this slide in any college session that you sit in on. And that really is because no matter where you go to school, getting involved is really just the best way to meet people and sort of find your community on campus. So this is a really cool event that we do where we basically just show movies on the lawn in the main part of campus. So that is the main building, that building with the green light. And, we do a ton of different events like this, which is just a really, really fun way to meet other students. And it's great. We have over 500 student organizations, so I promise you will find something that works for you, which is great. You guys can see different sort of categories of student orgs on this screen. For me personally, I like to kind of share my story. Like I said, I am a UK grad and I came from Northern Virginia, and it wasn't, we didn't have like a ton of students from the area coming to UK. So I definitely was ready to meet people and ready to find my community. And so I was really involved with a lot of the different community service organizations on campus. So I don't know if any of your high schools have what's called a Best Buddies chapter, but it's basically an organization that works to help people in the community that have an intellectual disability meet college students or high school students in your all's case. And that was something I was involved with in high school, and I really wanted that at Kentucky, and we had it. So in addition to that, I was also really involved with our dance marathon, which we call Dance Blue. There was actually a picture of it on the other slide. So anyway, we just love to give students the opportunity to meet other people. I was also involved with Greek life. That was a great way to meet people too. So you guys will have endless opportunities to meet other students on campus. In addition to those resources, we have other ways that you guys can not only meet other students, but also just get the assistance that you need. And maybe that doesn't come in the form of, going to a tutoring center or something like that. So you guys can see some of the different resources that we have available to students. I always encourage students to make sure they know about these because again, we want you guys to be successful in all aspects of your experience. And so if you're coming to UK as a first generation student, or you might need some assistance with, any of these other things, we always want you guys to take advantage of that. The counseling center, that's the other thing I was going to say, definitely another great resource that we have. So in addition to some of those awesome things, one of the things that I love talking about, and probably something you guys will hear about all too often if you start coming to UK for campus tours and getting our emails and things like that. We are a very, very spirited school. We have a lot of school spirit, a lot of campus pride, and we have a lot of really wonderful traditions. So you guys can see a couple of these up here. What I really appreciate about, just sort of the energy that we have at Kentucky is that you will see this transcend all across campus. So even if you're sitting here and you're like, I don't really care if we have a good sports team, I understand. But it is really fun to be at a school that has so much school spirit. And again, it was something that was just unparalleled for me. I mean, when you're walking through campus, everybody's wearing blue. Everybody is supporting each other, whether it's through an athletic event or a concert or a community service event. So it's really, really cool. But specific to sports, that is definitely something that you will fall in love with. It was something that really surprised me. And the nice thing is that most of our sporting events and really all of our events on campus are free, which is great. Men's basketball and football tickets are the only tickets you'll pay for, but they're only $10, which if you know a Kentucky fan, they will be very jealous to know that you were able to go to a basketball game for that cheap because people pay big money for those. So again, really, really fun and great community. Specific to Virginia, I like to kind of give you guys some numbers to give you an idea of how many students we have on campus from Virginia. Now, Virginia is obviously a big state, so there's lots of different spots that students are coming from, but the cities that I mentioned up there and the areas are definitely some of our most popular. So you can see that we have over 300 current UK students from Virginia, and UK as a whole, 34% of our student body are out-of-state students, and I can say that that number is constantly growing. I mentioned this before, but what I personally really enjoyed about UK, especially when I was making this decision, way back in the Stone Age, feels like forever ago, is that it's a very accessible school. So if you're wanting sort of, again, that out-of-state experience, you want to do something a little bit unique, Kentucky has all of those programs, but we're also very accessible. So if you're someone that might want to, drive home for weekends or holidays or something like that, again, UK is really close. So that's great. And I'm sure your family will really like that too. It's also very accessible by plane too. So Lexington has its own airport, but we are also surrounded by the Louisville airport and the Cincinnati airport. So they're about a little over an hour from us too. So it is very easy to come back and forth, which again is great. Speaking of our campus and its accessibility, one of the things that I also fell in love with, and I was not anticipating on this, was the city of Lexington. Lexington is an amazing, amazing place to go to school, and it's a great place to sort of learn and be a young professional. We're going to just kind of highlight a couple of things about Lexington here, because it's so important to feel excited about the city that you're actually going to be living in while you're in college. So I definitely like to talk about this. So Lexington is a pretty mid-sized city. A little over 300,000 people live in Lexington. And there is just so much culture and so much to see and do in Lexington every single day. One of the things that I like to say is that it is a great city to be like a recent college grad, a young alum, a young professional. We have so many great resources for you guys at the college level to sort of connect with internship opportunities, jobs, grad school. I mean, we just run the gamut as far as things that you guys can do after you graduate. Like I mentioned, I'm from Northern Virginia. I'm about 30 minutes. My parents live about 30 minutes outside of DC. And I knew I was, throughout college, I was like, I'm going to move back. Like, I'm going to live in DC. I'm never staying in Lexington. And I actually ended up living there for 5 years because I loved it so much. It really is such an amazing city, even after you graduate. So definitely something to be excited about. This is kind of our downtown area. So in addition to being a really fun, bustling city, there are also other things to do outside of Lexington. So we have a lot of great hiking. If you're someone that likes to be outside, you will definitely find opportunities for that in Lexington. And we are also the horse capital of the world. If you're sitting here watching this and you're not a horse person, you're probably like wondering why I'm even bringing it up. And I would have said the same thing because I was not a horse person when I first came to UK, but it will definitely become a part of your life. About 15 minutes from our campus is one of Kentucky's most beautiful and historic racetracks, Keeneland. And Keeneland is where you guys will go on Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, in April and October with your friends, and you will watch the horses race. It's definitely a part of the UK experience. And it is really fun. And, I know that sometimes as you guys progress into your senior year, sometimes big schools can kind of start to mesh together like, okay, what does this one have? What does this one have? And we all talk about school spirit and campus orgs and stuff like that. But this is just sort of an extra fun thing that you guys will have to look forward to throughout the fall and spring while you're at Kentucky. I still go back to go watch Keeneland at least a couple of times a year. So very, very cool. We also have some beautiful residence halls on campus. So again, if any of you have ever looked on our website or done a campus tour or anything like that, you've probably seen them. About 5 or 6 years ago, we completed renovations on all 14 of our residence halls. So not only are they really, really beautiful, but they also have some amazing benefits like having a better GPA. That is statistically proven nationwide that students that live on campus generally have a better GPA. You're so much closer to your classes, and all of those resources like tutoring and getting involved, all of that is right at your fingertips. So we always encourage students to live on campus. You guys can see some of our different residence hall room styles. So these are definitely the most popular for incoming freshmen. They are so nice. So again, in addition to the amazing community that they provide, they are really, really beautiful. When I lived on campus, these did not even exist. So I feel really jealous that all of our students get to live in them. Probably the most popular up here is the 2-bedroom suite. So that is the room style. I'm going to use my cursor over here, but that is the room style that allows students to actually have their own room. And then you sort of have this common area, and then everyone has their own bathroom that you only share with your roommate, which is also really cool. So again, pretty much like nicer than the apartment I live in right now, which is pretty crazy. So really, really great. In addition to that, we also give you guys another sort of layer of community building, and that is through our Living Learning program. So these are basically opportunities for you to live in either an entire building or a specific floor with students that have similar interests. So this can mean anything from what you're doing inside the classroom, like engineering or agriculture, to things that you just genuinely like to do, like creative arts or social justice initiatives in Lexington, if that's something you're passionate about. So we really do give you guys the chance to sort of live with people that have those same interests, and living learning programs are just a great way to do that. So would definitely recommend. And sort of the last little wing on our housing and dining tour specifically, we also have some really, really great meal options on campus too. So if that's something you're worried about, I promise you will eat very, very well. We have 2 really, really big dining halls. One of them is in our student center, and one of them is in a building called the 90, which is up by our library. But then we also have common restaurants all over campus, and these are also part of your meal plan. So things like Chick-fil-A, Starbucks, Panda Express, Subway, all of those exist as well. So really, really nice. I definitely hung out at Chick-fil-A probably a little too much. So now that you guys have heard all of this fun stuff, I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about our admissions process. Obviously, you know, if you're not a if you are not a senior and you're watching this or in the visit today, this information does sort of change from year to year. So not anything super drastic, but it is good to keep in mind that this is our admission information for this year right now. So moving forward, you know, hopefully I'll be so lucky to do another visit in the fall of 2021. And then you guys can also get this information on our website in the fall of your senior year, if you're still considering applying. So we have a couple different ways to apply to UK. We have our own online application, which you can find at applyuk.com, which is also our admissions website. And then we also take the common application and the coalition application. So whatever application platform works for you probably works for us. So no worries there. And all you need to have a complete application on file with us is the application itself, a $50 application fee, which we can waive if your situation allows, so just let us know. And then we need a high school transcript. We are officially test optional, yay, for the next 3 years. So if you are maybe not sure if you want to take the test, or you maybe don't plan on taking it or don't have access to take it, that is no problem at all. We want everybody to be able to apply, so we will be test optional, which I'm really excited about. Our early action deadline is December 1st. Usually that does not change, so that's something that's good to keep in mind. And typically our application goes live August 1st. So you usually have a couple months to gather all of those things and submit your application to us. And we always encourage the earlier the better. We have a pretty holistic admission approach, which is great. So if you, are wondering like, what GPA do I need to get in? What test score do I need to get in? What do I need this? What do I need that? We really don't. We don't really have a specific average. We have a pretty holistic approach as far as what we're looking for in a student. So obviously we really want to see how you're doing inside the classroom, how you're doing academically. That's of course very important to us, but almost equally as important is who you are as a person, what you like to do and what you're passionate about. And, all of those factors are really, really important when we're making an admission decision. Just to give you guys some sort of average context, I know a lot of people like to hear about the averages. We don't really have an average for this past year because test scores were optional. So that number is a little skewed as far as an average. But as far as a weighted GPA, usually we're looking at somewhere between a 3.6 and a 3.8 weighted GPA. So that's going to include your APs and things like that. So just if you're curious about a specific GPA, that's good to keep in mind. Another opportunity that you'll see on our application is to apply for our honors program. We call it the Lewis Honors College. They also don't have a specific GPA or test score needed to be in the program. So if you are a student that just might want a little bit more individualized attention, or you really like the idea of really small class sizes, the Honors College can be a really good fit for you. I think a lot of people think that you have to have a certain GPA or you have to have a certain test score to be successful. That's certainly not the case, but it is definitely a more academic, rigorous environment. So again, if all of those different factors sound interesting to you, then we definitely encourage you to apply. I also like to share this slide with you guys. So I mentioned that we have a lot of academic programs, which is great. And I love that, but sometimes it can be a little overwhelming and you're like, where do I even start with finding my major? So this tool is called our academic exploration tool. You can see the link here at the bottom. And basically this will allow you to search for all of the majors that we offer at UK, just based on what you're interested in. So, you know, let's say you were over here and you could type in something like, I want to be a teacher, or I want to be a lawyer or a doctor. You can type in a profession like that, and all of the majors that we think would be a good fit for you based on your interests will pop up. You can also, like, when you click here, it will say things like, I like to be outside, I like to write, whatever. So if you're just not really sure where to get started, this is a really helpful tool, just genuinely in your college search process. So really great. And then obviously I want to just bring up finances real quick. So I think it's important. You guys are looking at an out-of-state school, and it's definitely important to make sure that you feel prepared for the cost of UK, and also just make sure you know about all the scholarships that we have and things like that. So this was our cost of tuition for this. This is the cost of tuition for this current year. So just make sure that you're looking at that out-of-state line. You'll see one line for tuition and fees, and then one line for room and board. This past year, we were also able to offer a pretty extensive scholarship package. Now, again, just to make sure you guys remember, this is the scholarship package for this past year. This information does change sometimes from year to year, especially now that we're sort of in this new test optional time. So just make sure that you're checking our scholarship website. But if you plan on applying with a test score, you can see the criteria listed right here. And if you plan on applying test optional, you can see the information here. A good thing to keep in mind is that when we are reviewing your application for scholarships, you have to apply by December 1st, which is our early action deadline, to be considered. And the scholarships are only available as the funds are available. So I definitely encourage students to apply as early as you can. Do not apply at 11:57 on December 1st. Have all of those materials together, to make sure that you are getting as close as you can to the scholarship package that you're eligible for. And another thing to keep in mind here is that the GPA we're looking at is an unweighted GPA. So for admission, we'll look at your weighted GPA, but for scholarship specifically, we will look at the unweighted. And in addition to those scholarships, we have a lot of other really great scholarship opportunities. I know there's a lot of information on here, so feel free to just take a picture or something. But in addition to the general merit-based scholarships we have a couple other opportunities. The William C. Parker Scholarship is a scholarship opportunity for students that are passionate about the diversity initiatives that we have in place at UK. So if that is you, I definitely encourage students to apply, and you will see that application on the general admission application. So there's no separate form that you have to fill out for that. And then we also have a bunch of college and departmental awards. And then we also offer legacy tuition to out-of-state students whose parents or step parents went to UK. So lots of good opportunities there too. And of course, we always encourage students to fill out the Fafsa. This is the free application for federal student aid. This is the best way to get any financial aid from any school you're looking at. And that application usually goes live October 1st. This Need 2019 information is obviously for our current seniors, so that will depend on whether you're a sophomore or a junior watching this. But please fill out the Fafsa. We could not encourage that enough, especially, with everything going on right now. Financial aid, it could be more available than you think. So we always encourage students to apply for that. And then finally, now that you've heard all the really wonderful information, I want to make sure that you guys know how you can come and see us if you're excited about Kentucky and you're feeling energized to find out more. So our website for our visitor center is just visit.uky.edu. And on that website, you will see all the information you need to sign up for both a virtual tour and an in-person tour. So we are offering both of those. So if you, you maybe want to do a virtual option first before you make your way all the way to Lexington, that makes total sense. But if you are just feeling really excited and you want to come and see us, we have lots of great in-person options as well. One thing I will let you all know is that if you are planning on coming for spring break, please sign up for those right now, because they book up so quickly. And I get emails all the time from students saying I'm coming April 2nd. Is there anything available? I'm like, ooh, I don't think so. And it's really, especially with everything going on with the pandemic at UK or anywhere else, please schedule those spring break tours as early as you can. even if you're not totally sure you're coming, just book it anyway. I could not recommend that enough. So my little word to the wise as you guys are planning your spring break college tours. But yeah, this is my contact information. Feel free to take a picture. I really appreciate it. You guys can see up there, there's a link up there to set up a virtual meeting with me too. So if you guys are ever, wanting to talk a little bit more one-on-one, I'm always happy to set up those meetings too. And then my other contact information is up there as well. But I really appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm going to stop sharing my screen if that's okay, so that we're all back in together. Yeah.
Thank you. That was awesome. Thank you so much. I really loved the major, like where the tool that you had. That's awesome. I've never seen that.
It is so nice, especially, I mean, I talked about like my own experience and was not even sure where to get started. And so just in context to UK, but just in the process in general, it's so nice to know just really what's out there and what majors might be a good fit for a student. So I could not enough. So yeah.
Well, thank you. This has been helpful and then just to kind of reconnect with you and find out what's new, what's going on, and all of that. So we will be staying in touch with you, Erica. And if we have any questions beyond today, we'll definitely reach out. Students, do the same. And we will post this video out today. So all of our students can access it and families, and we'll be, like I said, keeping in touch, Erica.
Yay. Thank you guys so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Yes, no problem. Have a good rest of your day.
You too. Bye, guys. Thanks.
Bye.